All right. Obviously, that's why you rely on your defense when you have a half or a part of a half like we did the first half where it's hard to find the basket. Um, but Nebraska did some good things, which is very similar to what they did to us last year in terms of trying to make it hard to score in the paint and hard to get the ball in there or hard to get it out. But I thought defensively, obviously, we were really good, and we talk about that all the time. That can help hold the fort until you can get the ball to go in. But proud of our guys stuck to that and kept that anchor in place, and then obviously we were able to get things going a little bit in the first half, and then get some separation in the second half. Thought we got a good contribution. Johnny off the bench, I thought gave us a real spark in the first half, and I thought offensively we went to a different gear when Trevor came in the second half. I thought he got us going a little bit in terms of just pace of play and ball movement picked up. Some good things there. So it's good to get the first one in the league, and now you take 2 days and get ready for next. So, questions?
Start with Jeff.
Greg, sometimes the game can be pretty simple. I'm just curious, offensive execution in the second half, was it as simple as just getting it more inside and getting some good looks or kickouts?
Well, that and have the ball go in. I mean, that's the first half we did settle without. We took some quick shots without touching the post. I thought when we got it in there, we didn't do a good job of chinning it, and we dropped the ball a couple times or brought it down. They stripped it. But I think the thing is too not to panic and get frantic in that when the shots aren't going in. And I've seen enough games through the years here that I've seen a lot of that in terms of just there's going to be nights when you're going to struggle to score. Are there other ways you can keep your team in it? And like I said, I thought defensively, ironically, yesterday after practice as we huddled, I talked about just the importance of defense and rebounding and taking care of the ball. And I said, coincidentally, we can't rely on going 16 for 25 from three all the time. There's going to be nights when you're going to have to really anchor on the defensive end. And I didn't want it to come through the next day, but by golly, it did. So fortunately, like I said, they stuck to it. And this group has really bought in on the defensive end. And tonight was another example of how important that is to help, pull you through times when you can't get the ball to go in.
Jim.
Greg, unless I heard Brad wrong, I think he said you said at halftime that there was maybe a lack of urgency in that first half. Did you think that? Did you think that either end of the court?
I wouldn't say a lack of urgency. I thought some of the closeouts were a little too non-aggressive, but I thought from an urgency standpoint, and obviously you're going to have frustration when the ball doesn't go in. And as I told them after the game, don't let missing shots raise your blood pressure. It should be, the other end of the floor or turning the ball over. Those things but you can't get frustrated and become tense on the offensive end. You have to. I looked down at one point, we were 1 for 16 and it was 7-3, a heck of a football game. But I don't think it was a sense of urgency. Some of the closeouts, maybe I pointed that out, but I thought from that standpoint, if there's not a sense of urgency, we're not in that game shooting it like we shot it on the defensive end. So, fortunately, like I said, they packed their hard hat and their lunch pail and went to work on that end to help get us through that rough spot offensively.
Steve.
Just how are you able to get your team to have that mentality that they don't get tense, that they don't panic when they're missing shots the way they were in the first 10, 15 minutes?
Well, my mentor a long time ago said that you can't yell them into shooting better. I can get frustrated and upset about a lot of things, but if we were getting good looks, I can't, we just keep encouraging, stay positive. I think having an older group helps that they don't get as flustered if the offense isn't going as well or you're not making a shot. And we had some wide open ones too. I mean, we took some that were, like I mentioned earlier, that were a little too soon or we hadn't played inside out, but we had some that were, really good looks. And obviously Saturday we couldn't miss. And then you have the other end of the spectrum today. But like I said, that's why you really anchor your program and anchor what you do every day on the defensive end and rebounding. And for the most part, we did a decent job better in the second half of taking care of the ball. So those things help you when when you have a hard time putting the ball in the basket.
George?
Greg, how tough was it with Nebraska seemingly wanting to get in front of all the post, force like the overhead pass, to kind of see that part of your offense disappear in the first half at least, but then how important was it also see how your guys responded to that, put offense together at the latter half of the first half and carry it into the second?
Yeah, I mean, it was nothing that we didn't expect to happen because it's kind of how they played us last year. And if you look at the 2 games, I think we made 15 and 18 threes in those 2 games because they packed the paint so much and dare us to shoot it. We missed some guys in the post in the first half. I think the first play of the game, we had 2 cutters come wide open off of cuts, and we didn't see them for whatever reason. And there were some things in the high-low too, whether it's in the intentional stuff we do high-low or even within the swing where we missed some guys in the post where we could have thrown it over the top. But also that paint is so condensed and they swarm so much when it did go in, that when it did go in at times we were not, strong enough with it or let them rake it loose and those type of things. So, be able to play. We got some inside out stuff the second half. We got it into Micah. He was able to get the defense to collapse, and we got it out securely and safely and around the horn, and we were able to knock down some shots and got them playing from behind in terms of scrambling to catch the ball. And that's what we didn't do well enough in the first half. They were right in line. We didn't move it well enough, whether we missed open guys or we held the ball too much. The second half, the ball popped a little bit better, and they were chasing the pass a lot, and that's when you end up with open shots.
Go to Carly.
Hey, Coach. You've held teams to 57 points on average through your first 8 games. So I know we've talked a lot tonight about defense, winning you the game tonight. What specifically on the defensive end has impressed you about your team this year?
Well, I think the fact that they understand how important it is, that they take pride in that. They want to be the best defensive team in the country. And that's an everyday challenge. And I think just obviously experience helps because you got a lot of guys other than Johnny has had a lot of reps, and it takes a long time to become a good defensive team, and a lot of reps and a lot of film and a lot of, having some things not go your way to learn from that. But, I think the synergy, everybody talks about synergy and the timing and synchronization of an offense, but also defensively, you have to be in sync and knowing what the other team is, or knowing where the other teammate is at on the floor and when we're switching screens, when we're not. I think the versatility of this group, specifically when we play it with just one big, and then we've got, ranging from 6'1" to 6'8" across the other 4 spots, and the ability to exchange and switch a lot of things. In today's game, I think that's important. You have to have the ability to be able to do that because of how so many teams play, 4 guards or small ball, so to speak. So I think just their buy-in, that's been the biggest thing. They take pride in it, and they take it personal when things don't go well on the defensive end.
We'll wrap things up for Coach with one more from Jim.
Greg, I'm not sure we're going to get to talk to you before Friday's game, so I'm going to ask you about Michigan State now. I don't need to tell you that you haven't won there in a long time. When you look back at some of the games, especially the recent ones, do you remember walking out of there thinking you played well and just lost to a team that played better, or do you think that most of those games you didn't play well?
I'd have to look back through each individual game, Jim. I mean, I think the biggest reason why we haven't won there is because they're really good. So I know that sounds simplistic, but it's that simple. I mean, that's, it's why our home record has been, we've been really good. And I think you look at any good program, they should have a good home record. Obviously this year is so different with no fans and stuff, but I'm sure probably a lot of teams have had struggles with Michigan State, whether it's home, road, neutral, Mars, the moon, wherever. It's because they're good. Tom's been there a long, long time, quarter century plus. Quarter century is the head coach, more than that. So that that tradition, along with our program, I think there's some longstanding traditional programs in this conference, and obviously they're one of the best, and we'll look forward to competing on Friday. It'll be fun. I mean, it's Christmas Day game. Our guys wanted to do that when threw out that option, knowing we can't go home because of the health and safety protocols that we really need to adhere to. And this was going to be an option. And this is something they wanted to do. So it'd be a great challenge for us against a really good team, and very unique, obviously playing on Christmas Day.